So I'll just tell you about myself. I am coming from Kyrgyzstan. That's a small country in Central Asia. And I applied to Turkey scholarships in 2018. So it was already 5 years ago. And I studied in Antalya. Antalya, it is a city on the Mediterranean Sea. So it's a very chilled, it's very, it's a city with a beach and with a very, very beautiful weather. So that's the university I studied in was Akdeniz University, and I studied electrical and electronics engineering in that university. So this is just like briefly my background. So what is Turkey scholarships? Because I think that a lot of you, I don't know, like if you heard of it or if you know about it, but I just want to like tell you what where it is coming from. So Turkey scholarships is the government funded scholarship. So this is not a scholarship that is provided by some organization or some private sector, but this is a scholarship that is actually provided by the government for like to bring international students each year to Turkey. And this scholarship, since it's covered by government, they want to make sure that the students who are coming to Turkey, they're engaged socially, culturally, and they are engaged in academic extracurricular. So it is much more than just giving you so it's just much more than just paying for you to come there. So it's just like they want to create this culture within the scholarship. And also, for example, like in 2012, when it just opened, there were the number of applications were like more than 40,000. And like in 2019, the number of applications like reached to 150,000 applications from around the world. So like they like students from like over than 180 countries can apply to this scholarship, and each year, so like more than 150,000 applications, applicants are applying to the scholarship. So which means that this is a very big thing. And so like I think this is the most exciting part, is what does this scholarship covers, and why I think that this is one of the most incredible scholarships that exist around. It's because it basically covers almost everything that a student might want. So first of all, it covers the tuition fee. So like the university where you're going to study, it is going to be fully covered by the scholarship. And also you're going to receive the monthly stipend. So from here, you can see that everyone, like every degree, students from every degree can apply. So it's like bachelor's, master's, PhD, and depending on your degree, you will receive a certain amount of money. So like in bachelor's degree, you will receive like 1,700 Turkish liras. Since the exchange rate varies like extremely throughout the day, I didn't convert it. So you can convert it to, for example, like your currency, but I think this is around $100 for the bachelor degrees, which is not a lot, but it's still good money. It will still help you live throughout the months, like, and just cover your basic needs like transportation, basic groceries, and for example, allow you to get a lunch in the university canteens every day. And it's like 2,400 for master's degree and 3,000 liras for PhD. So it's like around 100 and $200 for master's and PhD. So because like their degrees are higher, they will receive more money each month. And also, like, I think this, like, I haven't seen any of the scholarships, like other scholarships that do it, is that Turkey Scholarship provides you with flight ticket. So the moment when you fly to Turkey for the first time, they will buy you your ticket for the dates that you mentioned, for the dates where your like studies begin. And also the moment when you finish your studies after 4 years or sometimes 5 years, they will provide you with a ticket back to your country. So it is so yeah, you will have tickets to fly into Turkey in the beginning of your studies and to fly back to your country. For example, I know that for some of the countries, flight tickets to Turkey might be insanely expensive. So I think this is a very, very great opportunity for those who cannot cover like $1,000 or $2,000 tickets. And also, it also provides you with accommodation. So the scholarship finds you a place in the dormitory. It like before you arrive, everything is arranged. You have a place. You have and they make sure that that place is very close to your university, because every university in Turkey have their own dormitories like within the range of the university. So it's pretty close. And also, I think dormitories in Turkey, they're very special for me. It's because like they include the things that like other dormitories will not. For example, they have, for example, in most of the governmental dormitories, I think in all of them, you have breakfast, dinner included every day. Even in the holidays, you have breakfast and dinner. So they have like this dormitory canteen, and that is included already in the price of the dormitory that the scholarship is paying. So it is just like it comes in one package. And also, what was really, really surprising for me is that there's cleaning. So like the cleaning ladies, they come twice a week to clean your door, so to clean your room. And I think this is just like a luxurious, all-inclusive student, accommodation for students. So I just wanted to mention it because I think this is important. This is an important detail of your lifestyle in Turkey. And also the other important thing is that the health insurance. They also provide you with this governmental health insurance, which covers almost all your basic health needs, starting with the seeing a doctor, even seeing a dentist, even getting some basic treatments at the dentist, with a dentist. So I think this is a really, really great thing, is because, for example, like in Turkey, I didn't have to worry about my health or getting the appointment, and everything was already done for me. So even if I get sick, I know that I have a place to go, and I know that I have an insurance that will cover most of it. And also, I think you might ask, like, what is the language of education, and do we need to know Turkish beforehand? So the good news is you don't have to know any Turkish or any English before coming. Is that the scholarship will take care of it. And once you're accepted, and once you're in Turkey, if you don't know Turkish, which is like most of the students who are coming there, they will provide you with a 1 year Turkish or English language courses. Why English? Because like depending on your choices, you might want to study in faculties or universities that are taught in English. And if you don't know in English, they will provide you with 1 year language course. So I think, which is amazing. Like you're coming there, you're getting the language education, and then you will continue your studies. So, but most of the universities in Turkey are in Turkish language. So once you start researching the universities, I think you will see it. But there are some faculties that are taught in English. So I think this is basically it, what the scholarship covers. And I think this is a full package, like a package of a student, like once one might need to go and study in another country. So, and then right now I'll like to talk about these stages. So there are like, how is the admission going on, and how do they choose the students who will eventually come to Turkey and study? So there are two stages. The first one is the application stage that is open right now, and I will talk more about it today. And the second stage is the interview. So interview comes way later, and I don't think that it is very complicated. So I'll just I'll just give you a few tips that I know about the interview. But I think the most important stage is the application stage, which opened in January 10th this year, and it will close in like 20 days, in February 20th. And I will tell you that this is enough time to get everything ready and submit your application on time. So before proceeding with the application, I want you to make sure that you have all the documents, all the necessary documents to submit, or to provide all the information within the application. And so the documents, the official documents, they are not very complicated, or they don't require a lot of documents from you. But I want to include some of the optional documents as well that might be very helpful for you. So, for example, Turkey Scholarship, I will tell it 1 second. I will put it this way. So, Turkey Scholarship makes its selections based on the country and based on the education style, for example, in the country. So if you have certain examinations in your country, or for example, if you have this like final year examination in your country, and if you have the results, if they're good, don't just think that, oh yeah, it's just an exam in our country and probably they don't know about it and they don't care. Please don't do it. So like if you have certain examinations in your country, for example, like SAT is an exam for high school graduates in the United States. And if you have something very similar in your country, and if you have the results, please make sure you take it with you and like you submit it, because that will be important. They will look at you because like they will be selecting students from your country. Like, so like your competitors will be students within your country. So you'll not be competing with the whole world students, but you'll be competing with the students from within your region. So I think just make sure that like you have the results in your hands if you took them. And also diploma or a temporary graduation certificate. If you have a diploma, for example, if you want to apply for a master's degree, you need to provide a diploma or some document that says that you will be graduating within the next few months and you're ready to start your education in September of this year. But if you're still in high school, for example, if you're graduating this year from high school, then you need to submit your transcript that with all your grades, and just to make sure that they know that you have passed all your exams and they can access your GPA results. So like transcript is important no matter where you're applying to, whether it's like master's, bachelor, or PhD. So you just need to provide the transcripts of all your previous education degrees. And also, this is not mandatory, but I think it is a very important. It's a very important thing to mention is that if you have any international exam results, please submit them. Don't be afraid. Even if your score is very low, even if you think that it is low by your standards, but just the fact that you have them is important. That will show that you have this courage to take that exam, that you've spent some time and some energy preparing towards that exam. So even if your scores are low, please submit them. And also like here you can see that like if required by a chosen university. So depending on the university you want to apply to or you want to study at, some universities might require your SAT scores or they might require your TOEFL scores. But these are the universities like those, like I think just like 5-6 so like top universities in Turkey, but 98% of the universities, they don't require these exam scores. But if you have them, that will be a very, very good thing for you, because that will help you stand out among the applicants and make difference in your application. So those are mostly for the bachelor degrees. Those are like valid for everyone. But for example, if you're applying for PhD or master's, you'll also need to provide some of the details of the research that you want to do. So for example, for a PhD, you need to have a proposal for a research and a written example of your research. I wrote here only PhD, but when I was applying for master's, even for the master's, they wanted a research topic for me and they wanted a mini written example of my research and what I'm planning to do. So here in PhD and master's, it gets a little more complicated here. Like you need to have a specific goal and you need to have a specific research topic beforehand. So I think these are the documents and most of them are optional. And I think like I would only say that two mandatory is like transcript and diploma. So like those two documents that they are, yeah, you'll have to submit them. And the others are optional, but if you have them, that will be a very, very good thing for you to submit them. So here I just pasted the application page of this scholarship. I will include the link in, I think here, like we'll include the link in comments, but also within the post, like you can see the links and you can find this page, you can register. So this is the page and they will require a lot of information from you. So for example, like your personal details, family information, the languages that you know, the education that you obtained previously. And these are like pretty easy to submit. You're just basically giving them all the information about you and about your studies. And like you'll also have to submit the letter of intent. And for example, for masters, that I wanted to apply for masters, I also needed to choose the interview location. And I think like you can choose it like they will have some options of the cities that are closer to you in your country. So if your country is eligible to apply, then for sure you will have the places within your country, like some, for example, like capital city mostly, where you can go and interview. But of course, that happens only if you pass the first round and pass the application round. So I don't think the application process is difficult, but there are certain moments that will make you different within, I would say, like 100,000 of applicants. And I want to go through those moments. So I don't know. Here, I think like you would ask, how do they choose the successful student? Like, what is their criteria? And honestly, I would say, I don't know. I have no idea how they choose it, because there were like successful students with GPA like 94% out of 100 and or 98% out of 100, and sometimes they were not chosen for the interview, or sometimes there were like students with like a lot of extracurricular activities and certifications, but then they didn't pass as well. But then others with the same criteria, with the same application, they pass. So I don't know what is the recipe of a successful application, but here I just want to share all my tips that helped me, and they helped some of my friends, and we were applying all together. So a few things that I want to mention is the recommendation letter and motivation letter. So I didn't write motivation here, because motivation letter, they will ask you to submit a few letters why you want to study in Turkey or why you want to study in a particular faculty. Just be honest. All the rules that are valid for other motivation letters that are valid here too is like good writing, good structure, grammar. Be honest. Just show your passion towards this program and towards Turkey, and I think that will be enough. But for example, when it comes to the recommendation letters, is that there's no limit for the number of recommendation letters that you want to submit. I remember some of my classmates, they collected like 9-10 recommendation letters just to have it there. And I was like, whoa, that's like too much. I think I had like only 3 recommendation letters, but they were good letters. And she got the scholarship and I got the scholarship. So which one is the right thing to do? I don't know. But for example, I think, but the good thing is to have like 4 or 5 good recommendation letters that just describe you as a person, as a student. And I think you'll be good to go with only like 4 or 5 recommendation letters. But if you have more, upload them. If you have less, don't stress out. Then you can just like make up for it in the other parts of your application. And the second thing is that during the application process, I think here you will have social activities. For example, social activities is everything that you have done outside of your academic curriculum. until now, up to now. So they will ask you to upload all your certificates, previous diplomas, some achievement letters, and I would recommend you to upload as many as possible or as many as you have. So for example, like you have a little certificate from a middle school or from an elementary school, don't think that it is irrelevant, because when I was submitting, we were collecting, we're not collecting, we were just like remembering all our previous achievements, and we were just like taking all those papers out of safe that we were just like they were dusting there. And we were still like uploading all of them, and I think I had like 16, 17 in total. It was like, yeah, from like my, yeah, from I think it started from my elementary school like certificates. And like if you have a lot, great, just submit all of them, and you don't have to even translate them. You can just write a quick description of the certificate. So that's, I think, a very good thing. So like when you have a certificate, you can just like take a photo of it, and if it is in the language of your country, then you can just write a small description of what the certificate means and what it represents. So you don't even have to go and officially translate it. So that's why you can just like upload as many as you have. And also the next thing is choosing universities. So while choosing the universities, okay, here I think it makes sense to just bring some clarification on how you're choosing the universities and how it works within the application. So the good thing about this scholarship is that you're applying to the universities within the scholarship. I think I should have said it in the beginning, but I'll just clarify it right now, is that you don't have to apply to the universities separately and then apply to the scholarship. So this application to the scholarship is your application to the universities. And when you're submitting your, not here, I don't know where it is. I think it's like in the preferences. When you're choosing your preferences, you're choosing the universities where you want to study and where you want to go, for example. And they give you 12 options of the universities, 12 options that you can choose from. And within those 12 options, they will give you and pick one and place you in one of the university. So you cannot like just go there and say, I want to study in this particular university, but you can make a list of the universities that you want to go. And then the scholarship will just pick one for you, the right place for you. And then like they will assign you to that university. So, and how you choose those universities are important as well, because I think like when you think of Turkey, a lot of people know Istanbul because it's a big city, and Ankara because that's a capital. And a lot of applicants are applying to those, like to the universities in those cities. And when you're applying somewhere where already like there are like thousands of applications, then your chances of getting the scholarships are not increasing, like, or decreasing. So just make sure that you research on the cities, that you research on the universities, on the facilities that they have. And there are many, many really, really good universities and cities outside these two major cities like Istanbul and Ankara. So because like other people don't know about those places and they don't apply to those places, you have way higher chances of getting into one of those universities than, for example, like University of Istanbul, where almost everyone wants to study. But then the competition there is like insane. So, and also when you're choosing the universities, you're also choosing the faculties. And when you're choosing the universities and faculties, just make sure that they are closer together in like in the field that you want to study. So for example, I don't think that it is the right thing to pick an engineering faculty and also for example, I don't know, a marketing department in the other university, because then people who will review your application, they will not be sure whether you want to study marketing or engineering, and then like what do you want. So like when you're picking the faculties, just make sure that they are within the same field. So for example, when I was choosing, I was sure that I wanted to study engineering, but I didn't know which type of engineering. So I just picked the universities and the faculties that I liked. For example, there was mechanical engineering, mechatronic engineering, electrical and electronics engineering. Yes, the departments are different, but the overall field is the same. I want to study engineering. And I think just like try to keep the fields closer. And the last but not least, I think this is from my personal experience, is don't wait until February the 20th to submit your application and to press that submit button. Because on the last day, almost everyone will rush to submit their applications, that the system, the website might crash and it just might stop working. And I remember I waited until the last day, I think. And in the last day, the website just stopped working. And I was just sitting there in front of my computer and clicking that submit button like 10 times a minute. And then like there was like I think there was like 2-3 minutes when the website was working and like 2-3 girls were able to send their applications. And after that, it just stopped working again because of the high traffic. So just make sure that you submit your applications so like 2-3 days before the deadline, so that you don't have that problem. And I think it's one of the worst things, is to have everything ready and not be able to submit it just because because of the traffic. So I don't know, they might be helpful after the deadline, like for the people who couldn't submit their applications, but still I wouldn't take that risk, and I will just submit it as soon as I am done with the application. So I think these were the main points. And here I left a few very useful resources on these scholarships. So the first one is the ranking, the Turkish university ranking. So this website is in Turkish, but I think if you just like look at the names of the universities and where they are in the ranking, so you can see how their universities are placed. And why this ranking is important is because you don't want to select like 10 best universities of Turkey and just submit your application and expect to get to one of those very easily, because the higher the rank, the more competition you will have. So if you really, really want to get to Turkey and want to get the scholarship badly, just make sure that the universities you choose are spread in this ranking. So like just a few universities from the top ranking, just a few universities from the this list in the middle of the list, just the average one, and a few universities that are like not on top. The ranking doesn't actually matter. If the rank is low, it doesn't mean that your education will be worse or will be it will have a significant difference from, for example, those top universities. It's just that you might not have as many facilities as the top universities do, or you might have as many faculties that are taught in English as other faculties do. So don't look at the ranking as someone that will define the quality of your education, because the education quality is overall good in Turkey, and they try to stay within the certain standards. So I think you'll be good to go, even if you don't get into like top 15 universities, for example, because they are really, really difficult to get in. And also I included these official websites. So this is the official Turkish scholarship website, and this is the application website where you should go, proceed the registration and upload all your documents and submit all your information. So, okay, I think we have a perfect time left for your questions. I know that I might have been like fast in certain places. So I think right now, like if there's anything that you didn't understand, or if you want to learn more, I'm open to your questions.
Thank you so much. This was amazing, very concise, very clear. And Valeria just sent the links that were mentioned. So if you guys need to click on them, you can do it. Yeah, and about questions, I think I will moderate them just to make sure we catch everyone. So guys, please start typing your questions in the chat, and then I will be asking them one by one. So the first question is, do I need to do the YOS exam if I want to study dentistry? And I looked up, and I think YOS is some Turkish exam.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So Thank you for this question. That means you actually know what's going on in there. It's so there are two ways to get into a Turkish university as a foreign student. There's this Türkiye scholarship and there's YOS. And these two things are different. So for example, when you're applying with Türkiye scholarships, your application is all you need. It's everything. Like this, the application that you're submitting. But YOS, it is an exam for foreign students who want to go and study in a Turkish university by their own means. So for example, if you didn't get the scholarship, but you still want to study in Turkey, but you're ready to pay for it, then you should take a YOS exam because the other universities will accept you only with the results of that exam. So, but if you want to apply with a scholarship, then you don't need to take any exams. You don't need to do anything else other than just submit your application. So that's why it's a really good thing, because like just one thing and then all the problems related to the universities and scholarships are solved. But if you want to study separately on your own with your own means, then you should take your exam. Yes, that's mandatory. And it doesn't depend on your faculty. If you want to study in any Turkish university without the scholarship, then you'll have to take this exam.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And if you still have follow-up questions, feel free to leave them in the chat, but we will move on for now. The next question is it necessary to learn Turkish once you are there?
What?
Is it necessary to learn Turkish once you're there?
Okay. So if your faculty, if your department that you're studying is 100% in English, then you'll only need to take an English exam as like English entry exam. Like they will, if you don't have TOEFL or other exams, they will provide you with one examination themselves. But for example, but most of the times the education is in Turkish. So you will need to know Turkish. You'll have to know Turkish, I would say. And also just to live and just to make sure that you have a good life there. I think Turkish is important because Turkish people themselves, they're not very good at other languages. This is, so yeah, knowing Turkish will be a must, I think, there.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of general practice for any like abroad country. It's always better to speak the local language. Your experience will be so much richer. You can make friends and like get in the culture.
So, yeah, I think just like knowing your language just makes your life way easier.
For sure. There are a couple of questions now about the motivation letter. No specific questions, but I guess let's say, could you give a few tips on how to make a really good motivation letter?
One thing I would say, I think it's make sure that you have done enough research. Is like, I think like most of the people, they will just want to, oh yeah, I know Turkey. So what is in Turkey? It's probably Istanbul. It's like history. Like I want to walk in like those places. But I think one thing is like do a really good research and to really understand why you want to go there for yourself. It's not just like, oh yeah, it's another scholarship. But I think just like, yeah, go like search for Turkey, search for cities, just like read about some cultural aspect and find something that resonates with you. Like, so what do you find closer to you? And then after that, just be honest about it. Just like be like, hey, like, for example, I watched this documentary, or I have this friend, or like, I was just like dreaming of going somewhere where like, which is diverse in culture. So just like find that connection between you and the place that you want to study in. So for example, a city in Turkey or just like Turkey itself, and just be honest about it, just open up. And I think, yeah, it's just like, show them why you actually want to study there. And also like there will be another part of the motivational letter where they will ask you to write about your profession, like what do you want to do and what do you want to study. And even there, it's just like, again, research, find something that resonates with you and just describe it in details and why you actually want, for example, engineering, or like you want to be a dentist, or describe a story. Like, as I said, like you watched something, you talked to something, or you met something that left an important memory in your life.
Yeah, those are amazing tips. And yeah, I think as Begaiym mentioned, motivation letter is pretty standard for pretty much any college application. So you could just look up like best practices for motivation letter, and then there's some amazing advice out there.
Yeah, for example, like I had like one fixed motivation letter, I would say, and I sent it to all the universities before, and I just took that motivation letter. I just fixed some parts of it. I just made sure that I include Turkey and like some parts of it, and then it was ready to go. So as I said, yeah, there's nothing super special about motivation letter in this particular case.
Perfect. The next question is about visa. So do you have to apply for visa yourself, or does the Turkish government help you in any way?
Okay, so I think they help you because you will obviously go to the Turkish embassy before you, once you have all your documents, you'll have to go to the Turkish embassy and provide them with all the documents. So I'm not sure about this because my country is the visa-free country for Turkey. So I could enter Turkey without visa and just apply for the residence student card in Turkey. But I think if you need a visa, then you will need to go to the Turkish embassy and they will help you 100%. So because it says this is a governmental organization, so the embassy is aware of you going to Turkey and of your scholarship as well. So like your visa process will be much easier than if you would apply on your own.
Amazing. The next question is by Sarah. So if I will be taking SAT exam in May, will I be able to add the results to my profile, my application?
Oh, I don't think so because it's already late and the decisions are made because usually by the end of May and June, they already announce the results of the application process. But I think it's still good to have because like if you go on to an interview into next section and to next step, then in the interview, you can mention that like, hey, I've taken this SAT exam and I have these results. So I just wanted to share it with you. So I think it's a good thing to have if you go into interview, but it will not affect your application in any ways.
Perfect. Next question was sent to my DM, but I'll read it. Is there universities where I can study in English, but they don't require TOEFL or IELTS, if you know?
Yes. So I think it depends on the university because some of the top universities, like having a TOEFL exam result is must because that's their standards. But for example, there are many, I think, other faculties within the university where the education is 100% in English, but they don't require you to take a TOEFL exam because they will have their own entrance examination. So like when you arrive to Turkey, you will have you will have to take an exam of English language test, and after those results they will let you go on to study in the university, or they will make you study for 1 year like the English language because you didn't pass the exam. So you don't have to have TOEFL results.
This is a big relief because every second question to me is like, can I not take the test? I don't want to take the test.
Yeah,
and they're also
I know.
very expensive. So
and just like believe me, the exams that they give you at the university, they're much more easier than TOEFL. Yeah, because like my TOEFL score was pretty low, I would say, and it didn't meet their benchmark. But when I took their exam, it was like I did it 85%. So it is really easy. So yeah, I think you can relax about it if you don't have TOEFL, so don't sweat. It's okay.
Nice. All right. The next two questions, I think they have been answered, but I'll just clarify. So the first by Harris. For the Turkish scholarship, how many Turkish universities can one apply to? And you said it's 12 universities.
12 right? Universities. Yes, you can choose 12 universities where your application will go to.
Awesome. I'm just trying to kind of speed up a bit because there's a lot of questions. Yeah. So I hope we are making sense. If you're not, please let us know. Next one, do we need to submit the application and then also apply to university separately? And we said that at a step you would pick you just list the universities. And
so it's like one ecosystem. Like this is a governmental ecosystem. Most of the universities in Turkey they are owned by the government. So government can decide who can study there. So like the visa process, the scholarship, the universities, it's within one ecosystem. So your application just goes to your ecosystem and they just figure out how to place you, where to go, how your visa works. So yeah, you don't have to worry about applying to the university separately.
That is very convenient. Next question is what SAT score, in your opinion, is good for the scholarship?
I would say any score is good to begin with, but if you want to have a better thing, but I think it's like higher than 1100, 1200 will be good. Like 1200, that's like a very good benchmark to stand out.
Perfect. Next question is about the language course. Will we study the Turkish preparatory, I understand it's a language course, in the same university that we are applying to?
Yes, usually. So they have like these language courses. Sometimes they're located within the universities, but sometimes they're located outside. So you'll be a part of the language score, but you'll be like within other students, not just like random people who want to take Turkish classes. So they just make these classes specifically for international students.
And I guess the question, maybe to clarify for people, when you take the language course, do you also have regular studies, or is it something you do extra?
It's just like 1 year of separate language only studies, and only after that you can start studying at the university.
And the scholarship would pay like the same rate for the language course?
Yes, yeah. So it's just like if you have a language course, you can just think of it as like 1 extra year in your university path. But like scholarship wise and everything that they provide, nothing will change.
Perfect. Next question is by Nino. So I want to apply for the master's degree, but I have not done research during my bachelor's. Is it mandatory?
No, you don't need to do your research during bachelor, or you just need to have an idea what you want to do in your master's. So you don't have to be like, oh yeah, I've already done this research, I have this paper. No, I think it's just good to have an idea and some vision of how to bring that idea to life.
Amazing. So next question is by Maram. It's very specific, so I'm not sure if you can answer it, but she's asking, do I have to stamp my transcript record by the principal, or can I submit it without being stamped?
If it's not stamped, does it have a QR code? Because if you think of it, like the person who looks at your transcript needs to know whether this is a valid document or not. And if it doesn't have any stamp, any signature, then that means you could just easily Photoshop it. So every document that you have, yes, they need to have something that can prove that that is a valid document. So stamp, I think it is mandatory.
That's a very good point. Yeah. Some people do try to forge documents, and that is a very bad idea. Like terrible idea. People have been expelled from the country.
Yeah, don't take any risks.
Yeah, especially because I guess it's a government program. They could be a little bit more bureaucratic with all the documents. Okay, next question about language courses. We already answered that. Then Alex is asking, is it possible to get accepted into universities that are located in Istanbul, Ankara, and Antalya? Yes, why not?
Yes,
right?
Of course. Like eventually there are people studying, but why I mentioned like them particularly, just like don't try to go specifically there, is because if you only pick the universities that are located there, then you're lowering your chances of getting into those universities are decreasing, because there are like so many more. But for example, if you're confident, if you have a good TOEFL score, if you have a good SAT score, then for sure you can get it. But just like but just make sure, I think here, like, be realistic. That's what I will say.
Nice. Okay, we are running out of time. So there's a question about YAS exam. I think we'll skip it as it's not about the scholarship. So in which part of the application are the recommendation letters uploaded?
I think just get all your documents ready with you. And as you follow up the application, they will just tell you what to upload, where to upload. So it's very easy to navigate through the website. Just like make sure that you have all the documents that I have listed. And then once you start the application, you can just like follow up step by step. So that will be easy, don't worry.
Awesome. Next question is by Alex again. How many spots are given per country? How much competition do you have?
How much competition? I think it depends on the number of students that apply, because they always try to, for example, like if there were like 50 spots for your country, but right now twice as many applications, they received twice as many applications as last year. So right now they will not be like, oh yeah. So they will try to increase the number of students that got accepted, or like according to the demand, I would say. So I cannot answer for this question for sure, but they accommodate, yeah, depending on the country.
Yeah, and my personal opinion is like you shouldn't even try to research that, because if somehow there's a big number, you would freak out and be like, oh my God, there's so many people, and then your self-esteem drops.
So just don't do it. Just like imagine
Yeah.
like that's only you and like a few other people, I don't know, like within your school or like other places, and just try to make your best within the application. Yeah. And no need to know how many people are applying, how many slots are there, because that information will not be useful.
Yeah. Okay, I think we'll take a couple more questions. So I will pick the one relevant. Is there a registration fee? And if there is, how much is it?
For the application, no, it's 100% free. So if someone is asking you to fill their application for to fill your application for you or to pay for it, that's a scam. This application is 100% free.
Awesome. Okay, there are very specific questions about exams in your country. I think we cannot answer all of them because it really depends on your national exam.
Yeah, like there are like 180 countries. Like I don't know how they do in each of them. So I think you can just like clarify it by emailing them. Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say the same.
Reach out to them.
Yeah. If you go on the website, there's always an email. So you can say, hey, I'm a student from this country. I'm doing this kind of classes. Are you accepting the test scores? And then they have to get back to you. It's literally their job. So don't be afraid of emailing them. So let's do the last question about majors. So do Turkey universities allow you to change your major?
So the universities allow you to do it, but that will be a very problematic thing to do with the scholarship. So before you apply, just make sure that you're choosing the right thing for yourself so that you can avoid the future inconvenience for yourself and for the scholarship, because once they place you in some universities, it's very hard to change that. So yeah, just be mindful before you're selecting a major or a university.